Once again, it's a privilege to be welcome into your homes. Today, we are reflecting on the Passion narrative according to John for Good Friday. John chapter 18, verse 1 to chapter 19 to 42. When the evangelists told the story of the passion and death of Jesus, they do not dwell on the awfulness of the actual crucifixion. They did not need to. Everyone at that time knew very well what crucifixion entailed. The evangelists were more concerned with bringing out the deeper meaning of that last journey of Jesus. In the light of Easter, the early church came to understand that the final journey Jesus was indeed a good news story. We too look at the passion and death of Jesus in the light of Easter. Indeed, it is because Jesus was raised from the dead that the Friday on which Jesus was crucified came to be known as Good Friday. As followers of the risen Lord, among whom the risen Lord lives and works, we always see the cross of Jesus bathed in the light of Easter. We have just read the account of the passion and death of Jesus according to John. It is his account, more than any other, which bathed the passion and death of Jesus in the light of Easter. The fourth evangelist speaks of Jesus as being lifted up, which suggests not only his being lifted up on the cross, but his being lifted up in glory. In John's Gospel, when Judas leaves the room of the Last Supper to betray Jesus, Jesus immediately declares, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified." The crucifixion of Jesus for John is also his glorification, the hour when he reveals his glory, when he reveals the glory of God, the powerful presence of God. John recognized very clearly that when Jesus was at his weakest on the cross, God was at his most powerful. God was powerfully at work in and through the weakness of Jesus. Indeed, in this fourth gospel, Jesus says of himself, "When I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself." In the course of his public ministry, Jesus drew to himself people from Galilee and from Jerusalem. However, he declares that when he is lifted up on the cross, he will draw all people to himself, people of every generation and from every language and culture. Why would Jesus draw more people to himself at the hour of his greatest physical weakness than during the time when he was a vigorous young man? As the early church came to recognize, Jesus revealed God more powerfully on the cross than when he walked the hills of Galilee. It was above all on the cross that Jesus revealed God to be an unconditional lover. In those great words of the fourth gospel, God so loved the world that he gave his only Son. We gather every time on Good Friday because of each of us has already been touched in some way by God of love, revealed in the death and resurrection of Jesus. Dear friends, from the pierced side of Jesus, there poured out blood and water. Earlier in the gospel, Jesus had offered the Samaritan woman living water and promised that if anyone received this living water, it will become in them a spring of water, welling up to eternal life. He was speaking to her of the living water of God's Spirit, of the Spirit of God's love. From the cross, the Lord offers that living water to all of us. He says to all of us, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me." And that is why we venerate the cross. We are spiritually thirsty, and we want to keep drinking from the source of the living water of God's love, a love which is stronger than sin and stronger than death. Shalom. Peace.